Hello, my name is Stanislav Culcicovschi and I am the artist in residence here at Liberty Bellows in Philadelphia. I want to welcome you back to this new free series of instructional lessons for the piano accordion. This unit is called The Styles in Moldavian and Romanian music. In this lesson, we will learn how to play a Hora style. The Hora is a type of a circle dance originating in the Balkans. In Moldova and Romania, this style is called Hora. In Bulgaria, Horo. In Serbia, Kolo. The name of the style is cognate to the Greek word horos, which means circle. And now, I'm gonna play you a classical Moldavian Hora with a tempo of approximately 120. And it has a simple 2/4 time signature. You can also download the sheet music of this Hora. The link is in the description. And now, I'm gonna teach you how to play this Hora. So let us look to the treble side of the accordion. We already know all the basic mordents, and we can easily start to play this Hora. The part A of this Hora is a refrain, which is repeated identically both at the beginning and at the end of this piece. The first part of this Hora is played on the bassoon register. I will play the first part A of this Hora in a slow tempo with the only right hand, and it will be easy to understand all the mordents. The main difficulties in the part A of this piece are the mordents. In the first bar we have a half-step mordent, which is placed on the first note. It is identical to the mordent exercises from the first Balkan music lesson. And I'm gonna play the first bar of the part A in slow motion, so you can easily understand all the difficulties. The second bar is simple. There are no mordents in this bar. Just play with the right fingering. In the third bar, we have one half-step inverted mordent. It is identical to the exercises from the second Balkan music lesson. And I'll play this bar in slow motion for you to overcome all the difficulties. The fourth bar is also simple. Just play it with the right fingerings. The fifth bar is identical to the first one. The only thing is that the fifth bar is not in C major, but in G major. The mordent is the same. The sixth bar is also simple, without any mordents. The first part of the seventh bar is identical to the first part of the third bar. Only the fingering is different. The eighth bar is also simple. Just remember about the fingering. The hora is always accompanied with a polka pattern. Bass chord, bass chord. The left hand fingering should be always like this. The bass notes are always played with the middle finger. The chords are always played with the second finger. And now, let us look on the part B of this hora. The part B of this hora is played on the clarinet register. In the first bar, we have a half-step mordent, which is placed on the last note. It is identical to the mordent exercise from the first Balkan music lesson. And let me play it in slow motion to understand all the difficulties. In the second bar, we also have a half-step mordent placed on the last note. It is also identical to the mordent exercise from the first Balkan music lesson. The first part of the third bar in part B is identical to the first part of the third bar in part A. There is one half-step inverted mordent, identical to the mordents in the Balkan music lesson number 2. The next bar is simple. Just play it with the right fingering. The next two bars are identical to the first two bars of this part, but they are in the G major. The 17th bar also has one half-step inverted mordent. The accompaniment in this part is also simple, and we will use the polka pattern. Bass chord, bass chord. These were the main difficulties in the part B of this hora. And now we can start with the part C. The part C is rather simple. The only difficulties are the half-step inverted mordents, but they are identical to the half-step inverted mordents from the part A and part B. This part is also accompanied with a polka pattern, like the previous two parts. And now I'm gonna play this whole part in slow motion. The next part, D, is identical to the part A. The only difference is that the part D has to be played on the organ register for the last time. So these were the main difficulties of this Hora. As I said, you can easily download the sheet music with the melody, chords for the left hand and all the fingerings. The link is in the description. And join us for the next time as we continue to explore Balkan ornamentation, rhythms and styles. Thanks for watching.